YouTube, we're back with the Suggestions Box series. It's been a few months since I've done this, and I had to take suggestions slowly from the comment section of recent videos. And the last time I did that, I asked for perk suggestions because that's probably a good topic to go into. So this video is going to be full of perk suggestions along with overall game suggestions we want for the game of Overwatch. Here we go. All right, to make this even easier for me, I'm going to have like a reference sheet of all the perks in the game because I'm going to be honest, I still haven't memorized all of them. It's so many to go through. So here we go. Reaper's perk suggestions is the first one we start off with, and Genji and Widow. Reaper. So instead of Reaper's right-click shooting 2 shotguns at once, what if he creates a smoke screen instead? And for reference, this is in reference to Reaper's major perk called Dire Triggers, where if you use your right-click or I think left trigger on the controller, fires a volley with a long-range accuracy from both shotguns. So instead of that one, creating a smoke screen. It would combo with his ultimate and escapability super well, especially since his ultimate is garbage. Okay, so right now, let's think about his current perks. So it's that one, and then the other major option, which is called Ravenous Wraith, where leaving Wraith form grants 40% additional lifesteal for 3 seconds. I feel like if you take that one, it's a pretty obvious tell you're going to ult, but it is really good for like a mid-engagement and to like really swing the fight in your favor. I actually think a lot of Reapers take this one instead of the medium to long-range accuracy one. It's a nice animation cancel to finish somebody off or to poke a little bit if you're not playing the flanking Reaper, but I do think flanking Reaper is like the better playstyle overall. So a smoke screen would actually be kind of cool. We're not talking about full invulnerability. You just can't see them, or maybe you see like a slight silhouette, but like something to kind of mask your appearance just for like a very short period of time. I'm kind of down for it. I guess kind of like Sombra stuff. You can still get slept through it like Ana. Like if you see a smoke screen, it can't be very big where you can pretty much just kind of like chuck it in there, your sleep dart, and I'm pretty sure you'll still hit, but that would actually be kind of cool and would kind of like feed into his whole fantasy of being like, you know, a shadowy figure, putting a little smoke screen or not a smoke screen, but like a shadow pops up and you can't see him for a second. And like while the shadow is up, you could actually like TP out in that moment, maybe timing of it just enough for him to get out. That'd be pretty cool for a major perk, actually. And it fits into his fantasy better than like going away from the fantasy of being a shotgun hero where like he suddenly gets medium to long range on his shotgun, which is kind of against what he kind of does. I actually like this one quite a bit more than I thought after hearing it out. Second perk suggestion for Genji. Change his Swift Strike doing the extra 25 damage to a homing shuriken instead. Would make the aiming aspect of his character easier. A homing shuriken. Oh, so like after you Swift Strike them with that perk on, so that one is Blade Twisting. Swift Strike deals 25 additional damage over time when used shortly after elimination. So like, what? So like you're saying after you dash, it would change into a shuriken, but like if it completely replaces that perk and you just have a homing shuriken, what button would you bind it to? I don't know about this one. Like what a heat-seeking shuriken that feels like guaranteed damage. That one I don't like as much as the Reaper one. I'm gonna be honest with you. Okay, let me look at the last one. Widowmaker. Instead of the 2 Venom Mine perks, why not give her a quick scope back to similar to Overwatch 1.0? Are Widows actually taking the double Deadly Duh? I think that's the major perk. Venom Mines gain 2 charges versus scope shots reducing grappling hook. Yeah, so right now I feel like most Widowmakers are taking Escape Plan as a major perk, which is scope shots reduce the grapple by up to 4 seconds, the cooldown by up to 4 seconds, depending on how much charge you have. Nobody's really taking the Deadly Duh, so you want to give her an incentive for another major perk, so a faster quick so there's probably time to ramp up the scope shot, right? That could work. Like Overwatch purists who hate Widowmaker, myself included, would be like, never give Widow strong perks like this. But like honestly, if you're trying to like, you know, be the balance team, you want strong perks for everyone, that could be a viable option as long as other heroes get viable major perks. Like some of them are very weak major perks to help deal with the power spike that Widow would get with quicker scopes. 2 out of 3. I do like these suggestions. I'll give you a little check mark of approval here. Next, Ramatra perk, the tier 2 major perk. When you block a nemesis, it generates up to 100 over health when you transform back to Omnic form or ulting. Okay, so let me look at Ram's 2 options here. So right now you have Nanite Repair, which is Ramatra's healed for 50 health per second while within his vortex, or Vengeful Vortex, so where the vortex is mid-air, use it again to detonate it, which deals 50 damage and pulls enemies stronger downwards. Which one would this one replace? That's what I want to know, because the healing one right now, like maybe Nanite Repair, because right now your option is to sit in your vortex and you constantly heal while blocking and you take reduced damage. That's already a pretty good perk. And this one just gives you a little bit of overhealth if people shoot your block, so I guess it's independent of the vortex. I actually feel like people would not take this perk, believe it or not. So I'm going to say no, because it doesn't really change too much to what Nanite Repair perk already does in its first place. And I feel like most people are actually taking Vengeful Vortex right now, the one where his vortex, use it again to detonate it, deal damage, and pull enemies downwards because of new interactions that arise from this. So I discovered this the other day, so write this one down. when D.Va launches her bomb like this and you take Vengeful Vortex, it gets a stronger gravitational pull. It actually halts the D.Va bomb in place. It halts Bob. This happened to me 4 days ago. I sent to Bob and it didn't go contest the point in overtime because the ram threw the Vortex down, and because of the stronger pull down property, it stopped my Bob from getting onto point. I was like, what? Then I ended up testing it and all that kind of stuff. That perk seems really, really good, and this one would not replace it. This is not a bad idea, but it's kind of too similar to Nanite Repair at this point, so I'm gonna say no for now. Perk idea, I guess Snap Kick is one of the things. Zenyatta could use a Snap Kick on a wall to give him more mobility. Ooh, I like this actually. Because a lot of times I actually take the floating one when I see they have no divers. I don't take Snap Kick because I find myself not ever meleeing anybody for the most part unless they like jump into my face like a Genji deflecting or a Winston or whatever. So I usually take the other one, but if Snap Kick had this property, if I took it, give me a little bounce off the wall for a little mobility to peek. Yo, that's kind of cool. I like this. You guys got some pretty good ideas. I hope Overwatch is watching this. All right, for Moira, her fade jump height is the perk you will always pick. So that one is her minor perk. Her 2 minor perk options are fade duration increased by 0.5 seconds or fade jump height increased by 50%. So I guess Moira players, I actually have not played against like almost any Moira since the perk update. So I don't actually know what Moira mains are playing. I'm gonna take your word for it that every Moira should be taking Uprush. That one does sound better on paper anyways for higher mobility versus just like longer duration. Okay, so now if this is the perk you'll always take, fade duration takes you out of the fight for too long and it messes up the low jump timing. A simple fix would be a fade speed perk and rework the fade jump height to a possible double jump. So the jump height one actually messes up a lot of rollouts and otherwise simple jumps. So having the option to double jump makes them more practical again. It also makes realignment of the speed possible. Her major perks are conceptually fine, just a bit undertuned in comparison to other characters. Heal Orb should get a little bit more to its resource, maybe plus 50 more in its pool. The heal reduction orb needs a lingering effect right now. Right now, the heal reduction only applies while the orb is actively attacking, which hurts the playstyle the perk promotes a lot. Maybe also give it plus 50 damage capacity so it can actually kill targets that just keep standing on it. Also aligns it with other major perks on other characters. Oh, interesting. Okay, so it seems like both the minor perks from Moira mess up muscle memory on the hero, whether your fade duration is increased or the jump height is increased. So an optional double jump, but I'm scared with the double jump here simply because you carry so much speed and momentum that like it unlocks too much movement. I mean, is there even a world where there's too much mobility or too much like phasing? The double jump off 2 objects, like I'm sure the Moira mains could cook up some really cool rollouts, but like I find it if you do that, then the other one will, like it's already not getting picked. If you get double jump on the fade, the jump height one, then there's like now there's even more of no reason to ever take the fade duration one. Oh, so you're saying maybe speed. Oh, sorry, I misread. Let me see it. Okay, so double jump on the fade height versus and then adding speed onto the extended duration. Both of them seem kind of crazy because you kind of just vanish in both scenarios and just end up randomly across the map. I mean, if we compare it to like Ana's perks, then like yeah, like these are fine relatively speaking. You're saying other characters have more power level, but that's not true. Some other heroes have pretty shitty perks as well, not just Moira, and these aren't even like that bad fundamentally. And your suggestion on the major ones, I actually think ethical nourishment with the orb healing doesn't need. I actually don't want to add more healing creep. I actually think that one's fine, but I actually understand I like the lingering effect on the contamination one. That one feels like if you're gonna have the healing reduction, it should not be while it's ticking. It should just like maybe last like 2 seconds, maybe like a DPS passive. That part I like, not ethical nourishment. And I'm a little worried about the 2 minor perks. Those make them feel like majors in my opinion, but it's your suggestion. So like, I feel like you're on the right track here and these ideas could be iterated a bit. Maybe it's like a very small speed boost. And maybe if the double jump is like, no, it cuts momentum on the last part of it. I'm not really sure. I'd have to see them played out to kind of be more firm with my opinion of it. Next one, a Hanzo perk that gives them stealth playstyle like quieter footsteps. No, I don't. A lot of good Hanzos, like you already kind of like lunge around the corner and like you already pop off. This one feels like, what perk does this one replace? Quieter footsteps? Like in this game with so much sound and like in an active team fight, the perk art almost feels like kind of ass unless you're like going for a full flanks and right behind it. But if you're flanking on Hanzo, you're probably playing from like a medium to longer distance flank angle anyways. I don't know. I don't think I like this perk very much, so We need more details on this one. Symmetra. As a low rank player, I feel like Symmetra's TP perks and TP in general is useless in most situations. The only time Sim players will use her TP is out of spawn or as a panic button to run away. It's never used aggressively. I propose that you replace her TP perks with a longer delay between your photon projector's charge level decreasing or letting her secondary fire charge up her level. Maybe 2 hits charges 1 level. Also, instead of increasing the number of turrets she has, make it so you can revert it to her damage focused turrets from early Overwatch 2 and remove the walls that they give you. Advanced teleportation increased by 50% is the minor perk Flare is referencing here. In the low ranks, yes, but I feel like at the high ranks, like making use of the longer distance is kind of nice if you are going for aggressive plays, but that's like dependent on the pilot, depending on the person who's playing the Symmetra hero. And I feel like good Symmetra will take advantage of like people who are not paying attention, and like getting a cheeky TP onto certain scenarios could open up some things. But like I actually think both her minor perks are okay, but I'm also a non-sim player, so like maybe my perspective isn't the best for this. I actually feel like the teleporter range increase, my takeaway point is the increased teleport range for the minor perk is probably better than what most people would perceive, because I'm just thinking of the possibilities and the opportunities that opens up and the new angles and like how creative you can be with assassinating people with that perk specifically. So like I don't think replacing that one is the idea I would go for. I actually do like your second one though, where not necessarily delaying the photon projector timing, but I actually like the secondary fire orbs slowly charging up a level, and then you have a small window of opportunity to use it. I actually like that one better than perfect alignment major perk, which is primary fire's range increases by 15% with each additional charge level. I feel like if you're already at a pretty high charge, like yes, the range is useful, but like I actually do feel like getting it up more reliably by like, you know, poking more often and letting them play into each other feels pretty good. Honestly, they could probably add this to her base kit and it wouldn't even be that bad. But like, let's just say hypothetically, it's like 2 shots. Like base kit might take more, but like as a perk, one single full charge orb could give you a full level, or is that too much? But like, I like that interplay. That's the takeaway point. That part I like. Instead of increasing the number of turrets she has, that's her minor perk where you get an additional sentry charge, make it so you revert her damage and then remove the walls. So you're basically saying the vision. I actually think the extra turret is pretty good too. Like that's an extra area denial. That's like 25% more DP or 33% more DPS technically, comparatively speaking though, when you compare it to the old number. That's more DPS if you have all 4 down instead of 3. It's more area denial. It actually just feels like a raw buff button to me. Like sometimes they destroy 3 turrets, but now you have an extra one to go off. Like if you have the 4th turret, if you want to give it more power, the additional charge of the turret, you could also decrease the cooldown for each individual turret by like 1 second. Is that too strong? Because it's 4 seconds collectively. I don't know, some other ideas to play out here, but all in all, like these perks still kind of lose out to what Sojourn and Torb and Tracer get. So I guess if we're speaking on relative power, if we want to bring everything else in line with the outlier perks, then we could go with your suggestion. But like I anticipate Overwatch to be nerfing the Torb, the Sojourn, the Tracer perks. So everything else feels a little better, relatively speaking. But like, you know, some good ideas here. I'll put this in the middle. Suggestion: pressing reload as Moira deals 75 damage to herself, but amplifies the damage and healing of Biotic Grasp by 25% for 5 seconds. These numbers are just placeholders. Also for Orisa, replace Javelin Throw with Halt so I can rule Ilios well once again. So we had this on the Reddit video the other day where like somebody on Reddit said, it feels like the perks in this game were designed by 2 separate teams, because on one hand you have raw buffs. Sojourn gets plus 15 ammo on a minor perk, but Soldier is conditional where he has to hit Helix Rocket to refund ammo, and then he has to stim pack and anti himself if he wants to do this, or like another hero loses this in order to do this, while some other heroes like Ana just get straight buffs. Nade becomes, you get double nade. Sojourn just gets ammo. You just get to nano 2 people with your thing, you know what I mean? So this one is another one of those conditionals where it's like you do self damage before you get a small buff. You have to weigh the risk and reward. I actually like perks that do that more so than just raw buffs to the character. So but like everything else in the game would have to align with this like risk versus reward factor, or like the straight raw buffs have to be really minor to kind of match that power level. And unfortunately 75 damage to yourself is way too much. So I guess when you say the numbers are placeholders, you could probably opt for like less damage to yourself, or maybe go for the anti effect similar to stim pack, but then that kind of has too much overlap between what another perk does, because like Moira can self-heal the Biotic Grasp, so if you're anting yourself, you kind of risk like pressing Fade or something to kind of cleanse it quickly for yourself before you can use it. I don't know, it seems like too much conditional that isn't necessary. If this perk idea really only works if Overwatch commits to risk versus reward kind of perk style. So like, I don't know if I like that idea. I think there's probably better, more perk ideas we can go for. For halt, no, let's not add more CC back in the game. That shit was annoying as hell, the halt. But I can see where you're coming from, but I don't like these ones too much. Perk idea. Sombra's perks kind of sucks, and everyone knows that. Maybe one that resets translocator. I love how it says translator because it probably autocorrect. If you get a kill within a few seconds after teleporting so she can escape again. I like that one. Could feel pretty oppressive, but like if she's gonna like go in and take the risk of going for the kill, you can be rewarded for one, sure, and try to get out. But translocator's not like how it used to be where like you TP across the map. It would still be like a limited throw, right? So you are chaseable. So like this one's not that actually bad this one's not bad of an idea. Because like her perks were definitely not as powerful as others. Okay, here's the first non-perk suggestion, probably the last one of the video because we're getting a little long here. Suggestion, make it so whenever someone gets hard CC'd, they get a second or so of CC immunity. So if you hit an Orisa Spear and then a Hog Hook, I guess around the same time, the hook will miss. This will allow for more CC in the game and stop chain CC completely. There already sort of is CC immunity in the game. Like let's say you're in the middle of the Earth Shatter and I sleep dart them right away. Like it doesn't overwrite it at all. They kind of just stack onto each other. You're not immune per se. They'll take the damage, but like a lot of the stuns will not overlap. It'll probably, some cases it does overwrite the other one, but I don't actually think it's that big of a problem. They've already cut down a lot of the CC in the game, comparatively speaking, and you do need a little bit in the game to kind of like make sure a necessary evil to kind of make sure certain heroes don't get away with murder, like Tracer sometimes. Server admin forever because of the lack of like hard CC to kind of shut her down. I don't know. I don't actually think it's necessary because if you're gonna expend two things onto you, I feel like it feels worse for the game when like you think something's going to hit but it doesn't because of immunity, because it's hard to calculate what your teammate did. It's like if there's like an Orisa Spear and we hog hook at the same time, like it's not my Orisa's fault that she went for the spear first and like I'm just slightly late. Like we're just both trying to make the right play in that situation. I think it'll feel worse for the player when they're like, I expected that to hit but it didn't, because it's hard to like intuitively feel that CC immunity. Obviously on the receiving end, it's annoying to get chain CC to death and stuff, but like those are the outliers. It's actually very rare that like it's because you see those viral clips from a streamer where they got chain CC'd 5 specific times from 5 different abilities. Like that's actually way rarer than it actually appears to be fair, where all 5 people unload the same one ability onto one person, especially with like 6v6 back and like more heroes in the game, more mitigation tools than ever, more invulnerabilities, invincibilities like Suzu and Lamp. Like I think those days are past us. So I don't think so. I don't think the game needs it for now. So I'm gonna say no. All right, that's just a few of the ones we've gone through. If you have any more, leave them in the comments. Maybe there's some from the previous weeks we didn't get to go through. Usually, like what happens is like we have like a whole folder full of like people's suggestions and whenever people do hot takes and stuff, and I just kind of randomize through them. I definitely don't get to go through all of them. Obviously, if they get upvoted a lot in the comments, there's a higher chance it gets put in the pool, but not necessarily ones that I'll pick based on the randomizer. Anyways, that's it. Leave some more in the comments. Goodbye. Bye-bye. See you later. Hey. Ooh, hee, ha, ooh.